Hi, I'm Joe Walensky, and I'm the program manager for the UX Writer Conference, and that's coming up October 6th and 7th everywhere because it's online only. So you'll be able to check into that from wherever you're at, and we have a great roster of speakers signed up, and so one of the things I enjoy is taking a few minutes to talk to each of them before we get to the event and share that with you. And so today I am talking with Michael Restiano. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Joe. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. Still ensconced in my home office for now. And that's in Vashon Island, which is near Seattle. Where are you talking to us from?
Very nice. I'm also ensconced in my home office in New York City. I'm specifically Long Island City, so first neighborhood in Queens. Got a little tired of Manhattan, but still close by. So.
Well, it's great to have you involved, and then certainly with the way things are with the continuing pandemic, an online event at least makes it possible for us to get together. So we're glad to have you as part of the conference program.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, part of this is to just learn a little bit more about you and to share that. So why don't you talk a little bit about your background, how you got into the gig that you have now, the types of work that you're involved in?
Yeah, sure. Let me give you a kind of a quick sketch from soup to nuts in my career. But I started out studying English at Tufts University. That was a few years back. So I've been in the field of content strategy for around 7-8 years now. I lose count sometimes, but somewhere around that amount. But I started my career at a tiny company called Patronics in Newton, Massachusetts. They focus exclusively on building loyalty programs for restaurants. A very niche kind of industry, but restaurants will come up later in my career as well. I was their first content person, so kind of got them off the ground with like blogging, content marketing, white papers, and things of that nature. From there, I moved into agency world for a little bit at Sapient Nitro as a part of the content strategy practice there. During my years at Sapient, I worked across a bunch of Fortune 500 brands, Travelers Insurance, Petco, PG&E are some that come to mind. And really my role there was helping them get comfortable with digital transformation, with managing good content across their various web and mobile app channels and things of that nature. Did agency life for a few years and then decided to make the jump into big tech. So landed at Facebook for a few years there. There is a massive content strategy practice at Facebook, as I'm sure you and maybe some of the viewers know. So it was lovely to be a part of that for a bunch of years, some great folks over there. I spent my time working on 2 products. One is called Facebook testing. So essentially all of the ad testing products you might use as an advertiser on Facebook, doing things like an A/B test or something of that nature. And the other product I worked on is Facebook Watch, which is not the thing you wear on your wrist, but is actually the main video product at Facebook. So kind of what you would go to find cute puppy videos or things of that nature across the platform. After Facebook, and this was on the West Coast as well, so I moved from the East Coast West. I love the West Coast life, but got approached about a role at Uber Eats in New York City, which I had been dying to live in for a long time. So made the trip back east to lead content strategy for the restaurant product experience of Uber Eats. If you can imagine Uber Eats, there's kind of people that order the food, people that deliver the food, and then obviously the restaurants that make it. So I owned about a third of the total experience of that product, just really getting it comfortable with good UX writing, good product design, and product development too, as well as being a part of Uber's at the time kind of 15-person UX writing practice. And then did that for a few years, and now I'm at Instacart. So I am based in New York still remotely because everybody is remote right now. But at Instacart, I am helping to build the team there. So there's 4 content strategists at Instacart right now. We're doing a lot of the kind of foundational work in setting together content standards, voice and tone, which I definitely want to talk about soon, and a bunch of other things to kind of enable us to succeed. And during my IC time, I focused mostly on the shopper side of the business and helping to get the shopper app to a place that it is usable, friendly, and does our shoppers justice. So that's kind of what I'm up to these days.
Well, Michael, you've been really busy.
Been a long 8 years.
Yeah, you've done a lot already, so it's pretty impressive. And we will talk about your topic that you're going to do at the conference and get a thumbnail about that. But before we do that, are there any things going on that you're particularly passionate about, related to work, not related to work?
Yeah, I'd say two things. So one is definitely, when I'm doing my UX writing, I also am a writer of another type, which is a fiction writer. So I've been working on a novel for about the past 2 to 3 years. I'm almost done with it. So I'm really excited and nervous and very excited for all the rejections I know I'm going to get. But hopefully one of them sticks. So we'll see about that. And then in addition to that, in this whole kind of pandemic situation, I told myself I was going to pick up one new hobby and teach myself one new thing. And that has been learning how to cook. Which I would say has been going about 50% well. Some things I make and I'm great at, but some things I just really, I tried to make pulled pork out of a pork tenderloin the other night. Do not recommend that for you or any of the viewers watching. That does not go over well. So I'm learning, but things are going okay.
Well, I'm glad you're having some fun with that, and certainly look forward to seeing what happens with your book when that finally gets out. I'm sure it'll get published in some form or another. There's enough distribution channels now, whereas I'm old, but the first couple of books that I was involved with, they were tech books, but at that time it was, you found a traditional publisher or you're out of luck. And at least now people have some opportunity, if that doesn't work out, to still be able to express themselves to others.
Yeah, very true.
Well, let's talk about your topic that you're going to do at the conference. And so the title is Tone in UX Writing, Making Your Product's Personality Come to Life. So tell us a little bit about what we can expect from that.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be kind of a deep dive on what tone is and how to use it in UX writing. I think what I found during my years is that most companies and writers and products as well think a lot about voice. They think about what do we aim to sound like and what should our personality be and things like that, which is well worth doing. But most people will think through voice, but not necessarily tone. And I think it's worth saying those are two distinct things. A lot of times people conflate them to be the same thing, but they are different. And I can tell you that they're different because, I'm speaking to you right now with my voice. This is what Michael Restiano sounds like. My voice never changes, no matter where I am contextually in a product, in an interview or elsewhere. It's always kind of my voice. But the tone I use does change depending on the context. So right now I'm talking to you and, hopefully sound excited and celebratory because I'm really excited for the conference and things like that. But if I'm speaking to my mom, if I'm speaking to a good friend, if I'm delivering bad news, for example, my voice might change and become a little bit like this. And that isn't really my voice changing. That's really a modulation of my tone. So I'm changing the way that I sound based on the context of the situation. Products do that as well. So we do that as people, but our products do too. You don't necessarily sound the same when you're delivering an error message or bad news in an app as you do when you're kind of introducing a new feature, right? So I think this is going to be a deeper dive into the finer nuances of how to kind of work with tone and see it as distinct from voice. But also for people or folks that are a little bit more mature in their practice of working with voice and tone, avoiding some common pitfalls about things you might experience with tone, particularly the problem of alphabet or adjective soup, as I like to call it, which is when you set out to say, this is what our product is going to sound like. It's these tone elements, and we're going to be celebratory and fun and happy and sympathetic and also sad and all these other adjectives that over time and when they're all bundled together lose their meaning because what sounds celebratory to you, what sounds celebratory to me might be different things without some really solid backing. So we're going to do a deep dive on avoiding pitfalls like that too.
I think that's going to be a really interesting topic. I know that's something, between tone and voice that I find, a challenging part to explain to my students at the University of Washington, but an important one. And so it'll be good to hear your experiences and how you've formulated that for your work with, now with Instacart.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Something we're thinking deeply about it at Instacart. And I think at Instacart, what I'm really excited about in particular is we're doing the thinking in conjunction with our brand team too. So in my prior experience, kind of, sometimes product writers or product teams will come up with their own tone frameworks that aren't necessarily tied to larger brand standards. But at Instacart, we're trying to do the work all together and think through both brand in and outside of product. I think that's really important. So.
Well, Michael, thanks for taking the time to chat with me a little bit today and for electing to participate in the conference, and we'll see you at the event in October.
Yeah, can't wait till October. See you then. Thanks for having me, Joe.